Welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode, me and Mark will be continuing the 7 a.m. turn of Austerlitz. Mark playing the coalition forces, myself playing the French. We've just had the coalition do their fourth activation, which was the first column over here. And I'm getting my first automatic activation with Davout. And yes, what to do? There are two large columns coming here, heading to the Skolnitz and Telnitz, and one heading over to Koblenz. Koblenitz.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, it's not. Koblenitz. And these forces are under the command of Soult. So, Davout is activated, and what do I actually do to stop this horde approaching me? Because I'm trying to defend. If I remove these flags as best as possible. There will be some reinforcements arriving, but not until at least the next turn. I can envisage, so I know I'm not going to be under attack from your first column, Mark, because obviously that's had its two activations. But I definitely will see some aggression from the advance guard there, which is quite a lot of cavalry. So I'm going to pull back. I can bring an artillery battery in. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Let's bring some horse artillery into Telnitz.
Now, are you maintaining your orders, sir? That'd be a good point to explain to the viewers about the order system and how the geographical orders work.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So order systems, order menu. All right. This is the. Mark can't see what I'm now showing you. I'll unmask those because they're masked. My third corps are under defense orders. Okay, because you can see those now, Mark, because you're within visual range.
Ah, right.
So what does defense orders mean? So I will be under certain restrictions under defense orders. Okay. Infantry and artillery units from a formation with defense order that are within command range cannot move more than 1 hex in any direction. In order to keep this order, they cannot declare a melee attack, but any type of fire is possible. Enemy cavalry units attacking a friendly infantry lead unit under a defense order do not benefit from the -1 for attacking infantry artillery in the open, and instead suffer from a +2 defense DRM, representing squares and such forth. Enemy artillery fire versus a hex in open terrain that contains a lead infantry unit will get a -1 bonus. Defense order forfeiture. If any infantry or artillery unit from a formation under a defense order that is within command range of its formation leader and is also within 4 hexes of an enemy unit, use an independent move to move more than 1 hex. The entire formation immediately loses its defense order benefit. All right, so infantry charge. Okay, so this is horse artillery. It didn't specify. It said under defense order. So let me move that back. Infantry and artillery units from a formation with a defense order that are within command range. Now, There's Davu, they're within command range. His command range is 6.
Yes.
Cannot move more than 1 hex in any direction.
Unless you forfeit the defense order and make an IM roll, I think, an independent movement roll. Is that right?
Yeah, I must admit, I was looking at it as because it's a horse artillery battery. I thought it might be exempt, but it's not. It is artillery. It doesn't specify horse or infantry batteries. So do I want to forfeit the defense order? So the cavalry look like they can move as far as they want to. Because it says infantry and artillery. Doesn't say anything restriction about cavalry.
So you've got to make, it's just an IM roll, is it? Sorry, for the purpose of viewers, an independent movement option, which allows you to move independent of your orders, but you need to make a roll against your quality to be able to do that, you see. Yeah, if you want to move more than 1 hex, which is not compliant with your current order,
command range and cavalry units even within command range. Units outside command range and cavalry units even within command range are considered with no orders and must use independent movement. Units in defense order cannot be encircled. That's what I was trying to prevent, was being encircled.
right?
Okay, that's fair enough. So if I want to move that gun, I have to do an independent order. And as soon as I do, if an infantry or artillery unit from a formation under defense order that is within command range of its formation leader and is also within 4 hexes of an enemy unit, and also within 4 hexes of an enemy unit uses an independent move to move more than 1 hex, or attacks a melee, the entire formation immediately moves. Okay, so if I roll for independent movement for him and succeed,
Yeah.
he's not within 4 hexes of you.
No, he's not.
So I won't lose the defense order forfeiture.
I see. Okay.
Doesn't say if he moves within 4 and is also within 4 hexes of an enemy unit, use an independent to move more than 1 hex. But at the start, he's not. So that's a little bit of a grey area of the rules there, isn't it? Because I intend to move the guns to Telnitz.
Okay.
Which would be then within 4 hexes. What do you think?
Well, I think we've got to play it that,
as written.
Realistically speaking, moving an horse artillery from the reserve up to the front line shouldn't affect the guys on the front line.
Well, let me look at their independent movement.
You've got to just roll for your IM, haven't you? That's the random factor. They might get
9. So they fail that. So they could only move 1 hex.
Right.
So I'll move them there. So that solves that debate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I now want to move this cavalry unit. So that has to roll for, that's morale is 8.
Just as a point of order, you're supposed to, I don't think you're going to have a lot of it, but you're supposed to do your regular movement first, aren't you? And then roll for any independent moves after that. Although I don't think your regular movement first would have an impact on where you place.
All right. Should I fight artillery first?
Pardon?
I should have actually fire my artillery first.
I know the visual range isn't there. So yes, you normally would have, but because we're on a VR of 2, visual range is 2.
Yeah, I can't see you. I could just fire blindly into the fog, but
yeah, you could do. You roll 3 12s in a row, I'll give you a casualty.
All right. Do I want to defend the vineyard? Could put both units in there, but then you can get 3. Yeah. All right. These fall back into telnets.
Okay.
Put in the better quality unit on top. Yeah, there we go. Right, so we know that there's nothing coming from these guys this turn. But I can only move 1 hex of the infantry. I just thought of doing a mad dash with this infantry all the way down here into telnets as well, but they can't. They can only move 1 hex. So they're going to fall back to there.
A wise move, I think, under the circumstances.
Right. So I rolled for that cavalry. They passed. So that's the moves from the guys that can move. Now for the IMs, that cavalry. And when you move under independent movement, you can only move half the movement allowance. So they can only move 4. So 1, 2, 3, moving down slopes, okay, 4 to there. The 26th chasseurs, try for them. Oh, they're very keen.
They're super keen.
1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 11th chasseurs. Yeah, they'll join them.
I just can't wait to get into the action.
Well, I had to block this bridge. I didn't want you sort of like, oh look, we're behind the French. And then I'll move Davout up there. And that's his first activation. Talking about activations, can I use, let's have a look. Marker. Place that next to him.
Oh.
Okay, so that completes Davout. Back over to you, sir, for 4 more.
Right, so you've managed to block the southernmost entry across the Goldback with 2 fairly decent regiments of cavalry, chasseurs, each has a strength point of 3. So it's about 600 cavalry, French cavalry crossing that, protecting that bridge crossing. Telnets is just packed full of infantry now.
From the terrain chart, the stream that we can see here, the Goldback,
yeah, it's crossable.
Is crossable by infantry.
Yeah.
Not by cavalry or artillery, unless it's a bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's defensive benefits. All attackers behind the stream +1. Okay. All righty. Now, so now there's 4 more, just for the benefit of people watching, there's 4 more allied activations, coalition activations, before Davout gets to activate once more. And then that's the end of this 7 o'clock turn. So this is where we really need to take advantage of the French not being able to react. Unfortunately, Davout has been able to react a little. The Allies cannot bring their artillery in to bombard this turn because there's just not, because of the fog, basically. Normally the artillery has a fairly decent range. It can fire out to 4 hexes, I think. But we're limited to just 2. So we cannot see a bloody thing.
So what's the plan?
Well, I think the plan is we're going to activate the second column
Mr. Langeron.
at Austerlitz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoom in on there. These activations in this turn are automatic. This wasn't the case. He would actually have to make a roll of 8 or below to activate Langeron. But in turn, they are automatic.
And the decision for the coalition here is that, given a fair day, we would have the option to soften up the defenders of Austerlitz, because they're all in building and village. They're all in building and village axes, which gives them significant protection. However, we can take advantage of the fact that they are fairly isolated, and the commander cannot react to redeploy or reinforce right now. So we will forego.
Rude, that is.
It is. So even though we cannot use our superior artillery right now, we can go in and probably cause some havoc with the infantry. So that's what I think what we're going to do. On. So 1, 2, 3. Langeron comes on to the high ground. Let's see what else we can do. Oh, interestingly, whenever you're attacking into non-clear hex, such as villages and woods, etc., you can only use 20 strength points to attack with. You're limited to just 20 per stack. So even though the Russians here have up to almost 30 in some of these stacks, they can only actually use 20 of them to attack. Same on the defense, of course.
Well, there's only so many people who can fit down narrow streets.
Exactly.
These are not boulevards.
Very slow moving, these troops, though. Only move at a rate of 3. The Russian infantry is slow.
It's a bit rude.
In this game. You cannot move foot artillery adjacent to enemy infantry either.
No. That's not strictly true. You can't move them into a zone of control. And zone of controls do not extend into villages. They extend out, but not into.
That's right. I stand corrupted.
As I say, we're both relearning this system. So, I mean, the Vive la Emperor system doesn't have zones of control. So, a full-on assault.
To try and upset lines of communication. Now, I've got to be very careful with what I do with the Russian artillery here. Now, artillery, he goes 1 to there, 2 to there. There's no cost to go down an elevation, is there? Especially
No.
just going out.
No cost even to go down the slope. So that's not actually a slope, it's just an elevation change.
Mm. I think I'll leave the rest of the artillery there for the time being. Can't really bring them into play.
So we have our first contact.
We do. So now I've got to declare my intention. Sorry, it's a bit quiet there. I've got to. It's the old grey matter. It's very grey.
And it doesn't matter. So yes, there's a certain sequence you've got to go through here, isn't there?
There is indeed. And what we're going to do, I've got to declare. So declare the melee intentions. So we've got here little melee combat counters up, and you can rotate them to show where a unit is going to melee into, like that, as so.
This is the melee combat declaration segment.
It is. It's easy for you to say. There we go. So the lead unit in the multiple assault will be Langeron's Fanagori, however you pronounce that. The high quality troops with a quality of 8.
Fangori. Doesn't sound particularly Russian, does it?
It doesn't actually. It doesn't at all. Right. So there's the melee declaration segment.
We now have any opportunity fire, which in this case there isn't. Opportunity fire would be fire from any unit that was adjacent to any of those assaulting units, but wasn't being assaulted itself.
Yes, such as
if I had this line unit here, they would have been able to fire onto this unit. Hold on. Apparently there's a new function. Let's try this out. Onto that, yes. Woohoo!
That's it.
Okay. But there isn't, so I won't, because I can't. So we now go into defensive fire.
Yep.
Some
Volleys of musketry coming from these village building.
from the villages. So now when it comes to fire combat, you need as low as possible on 2 dice. Infantry fire is effectively you need to roll 5 or lower on 2 dice, so it is tricky. Okay, there are not many modifiers either. You've got any terrain effects. I think all those Russians are coming in from open ground. None of it's opportunity fire. So yeah, that's pretty much the modifier. So I'm going to start with the.
If you are firing from a, sorry, Aaron, if you fire from a lower elevation onto a higher elevation, up a slope, it's +1. That's the only, so that may affect any of those
line here.
Pardon?
The 18th line.
Yeah,
So
I'm just seeing
that unit there shooting onto that unit there.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of that slope.
Mm-hmm.
Fire on a lower elevation, +1. Yeah, okay, I'd agree with you there. All right, okay, so that will be the first shot I've got. So 18th line B with a +1 modifier. Rolls a 3. That's a good
Not bad.
Their +1 is a 4. That is a QFT, which is a quality check. What does the FT stand? Quality factor check. There we go. +1 step. So we've tarnished that lead unit coming in, but he does the quality check first before he gets flipped. And their morale is, or their quality is 7.
I'll do that now.
So they passed the check. If they'd failed the check, they would, fail the check. You don't disorder, do you? You just fall back or cancel the charge, isn't it? So,
cancel the melee.
All right. So you now flip that lead unit over.
Yeah, I think he might be dead. Let me just see. Reduce. Oh no, he's not dead. Oh.
And he can change the stacking order as well.
Yeah, which I'll do now. So pop him there. Pop him there.
Okay.
Good shooting.
Good shooting, lads. 18 line A will fire at the guys on the same elevation.
So the Fangoris? Fangori B.
Fanagori B. Obviously a French commander. A French nationalist. Royalist. Yeah, we missed him. And then my 75 line B will fire on Ryazan A. That sounds more Russian. And rolls a 7, so that's a miss. Okay. So the next step after defensive fire segment is the melee resolution segment. So melees are resolved in any order at the active player's choice.
We'll start at the north against the 75th line B.
Okay.
So what we've got here is we've got the first red number on each of the unit counters is in this case is a 9 for all 3 of them. So you add those up, so that's 27. 3 units times 9 is 27, and against 8, so that's just over 3 to 1. And consulting the melee table, that turns into a modifier on the dice roll of -3. Bearing in mind that the lower number, the better. However, terrain effects, the 75th line are in a village, and that village gives them a +1. So that counteracts from the -3 +1, so we're down to just -2 now. And I can't see any other.
You have a quality edge.
Oh, quality factors. Yeah, the quality of the lead French unit, the Riazan here is 8, and the quality of the 75th line is 7. So there's a 1 differential in my favour. So that takes us back down to -3 again. So we're rolling on the melee table at a -3 modifier. Lower number, the better. Oh, it's going to be a good result for the Russians. So that's a 5 -3.
It's as best you can get. A QFT2 plus R. So that means I've got to do a quality check with a 2 modifier. So my currently is 7. I've now got to roll effectively a 5 because it's modified by 2. I've rolled a 7, so I've failed. Okay, quality check. And then the R is reduced. So it's automatically, it's now reduced. And it failed the quality check.
So that's a rout, is it?
Okay, we had to do some serious rule checking there because we haven't played this system for a while. What actually happened when you fail a QFT check? Well, it all depends by how much you fail the QFT check by. Okay, so the morale on that unit at the time it had to take the check was 7. So, but because it was a QFT2, my morale dropped to a 5. So to pass, I would have had to roll 5 or lower. Remember, low dice are good in this system. Now, I rolled a 7, which was 2 higher than what I needed to pass. So I failed the check. If I'd rolled an 8, failing by 3 or more, that unit would have routed. But he didn't. He failed by 2. So he's not routed. He has to fall back. And then the other part was he took a step loss. So he falls back into this hex here. And falls behind his brothers who put some comforting arms on him. At that point, the Russians can, if they wish, advance. They're not forced to. Wait a minute.
I think it's just the lead unit, isn't it? How is it?
Only one unit. Yeah, with infantry, when they advance, they only advance with 1 unit. I don't think it has to be the lead, though.
No. Well, I'm going to put the lead unit in because he's the best quality unit. So
okay,
so that one done.
Cavalry, all of them would have had to have gone in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your first attack. Your next.
The next is a combined attack. We noticed that the 18th line in the town there, pretty much a veteran line unit, high quality infantry. We committed a lot of forces to that unit. I've just noticed
Maximum odds, aren't you? You're going to have 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've just realised something, Aaron, but it has no effect on the game. I've done the calculation that my last attack couldn't have been at 3 to 1 because I could only use a maximum of 20 attack factors, not 27 as I did. So it would have been at 2 to 1, not 3 to 1, but the results are the same. It would have been a QFT 1 plus R instead of a QFT 2 plus R. So
you're anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then this next attack, that's funny that even though I went into great lengths to explain you can only attack with 20 strength points, I proceeded to attack with 27. There you go. That's because I'm 54 years old. Next attack, you've got 2 separate stacks, each with 20, who can commit 20 strength points, who can commit into attacking the 18th.
So that'll be 40 to 7.
So that's 40 to 7, which
5 to 1.
is what, sorry?
5 to 1.
5 to 1, thank you. So that's the maximum you can get. So that gives me a -5. They're being led by the general, who in this case
gives them a 1.
gives them a 1 extra quality factor on top of the lead unit's quality, which is 8. So that gives us an extra +1. So that's at -6. However, you get -1, you get +1 rather for the village. So that again puts us at -5. Is there anything else? No, there isn't. That's quality, odds, terrain. No. So again, the Russians are looking for the lowest number possible, just about to make the roll.
And the maximum modifier you could have is -5.
Yeah. And it's a 9. Slightly better roll for the French. That takes us down to a 4, which is an R. So they've still managed to reduce the defense, but not shifted them. So the 18th line
Go.
held it. Yeah. They've gritted their teeth and took the casualties and held on. Good job to the French. So what I'll do now is I'll just take off those melee combat markers for the time being. And now we're on to our final attack against the second portion of the 18th line. You'll notice aren't quite so good quality. They're quality 7. And the Russians going in against them are the same quality 7. So there's no qualitative advantage this time. It's just on the numbers. So we've got 20 attack points from those 3 units. It would have been slightly higher had we not taken casualties.
No, it wouldn't, because it's attacking into town, so it's still 20.
Yeah, oh, that's true. 20 against 7 is just 2 to 1. So that's a -2 off the roll for the odds. +1 for the village, that takes us to -1. No qualitative difference. So this one is looking a lot better for the French. It's just at -1. I'm going to make the attack roll in the window now. That's a 6. It's a good roll for the Russians.
Comes a 5.
So it's a QFT 1, which means it's a kind of morale check with a -1 deficit.
So my morale is temporarily on that counter is 6.
Yeah.
And they just say, "Get lost, Ruskies."
I think the 18th, the B battalion of the 18th line have just should have risen in quality, really. So not a bad defense from the French overall. Each side suffered some losses. The French still occupy the town. So even though the Russians came in with huge numbers, they couldn't take advantage purely of the numbers because of the limit in strength point size, and the French managed to hold on.
Okay.
And that is the
first activation. So you've got 3 more to go.
That's that first activation done. And can we just pause the video for a second?
I can. Okay, so we've just seen the first Russian assault go in there, and there's still 3 coalition activations to go before I get my second attempt with Davu to do something. But we're going to pause this game and this video at this point, and we'll be continuing via play by email. So I'll be getting a log file from Mark, hopefully at some point. And then once I get that, I'll load that up and I will click the buttons and do a video as I'm doing it. And then I'll do a log file probably in the same video as my response. Depends on how interactive the actual log file gets. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you for watching. I've enjoyed doing this. Mark, what do you think?
Oh, well, we had a fantastic time last year playtesting Fallen Eagles with where we both came back to this system. Well, you came back to it. I learned it from scratch, and then proceeded to play the hell out of the Hexasim Eagle system for the next year. So it's been great to come back to it. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to a log file from you.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the rest of you out there, so if you've enjoyed what you've been watching, please click the like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Any comments will be much appreciated. As I say, we're
Any
really
compliments? Any compliments for the coalition attack that I've put together? Be much
well,
appreciated.
the sequencing of it. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Needs all the encouragement he can get.
Yeah, exactly.
So, thanks a lot. Till next.
Cheers, everyone.